Welcome back to my channel, Mama. In today's video, we are talking about what happens when you just don't feel like showing up. When you don't feel like showing up for your business and when you don't feel like showing up for your homeschool. Because let's be honest, those moments happened. We're drained and we just don't feel like giving more of ourselves. But we know that we have to, right? So what do we do about it? Well, we're gonna talk all about that today. So get cozy, get comfy, and let's chat. Let's just get real here, right? There are days when we just don't feel like showing up. Our kids were awake, they kept us up at night. Either the baby kept us up at night or the toddler or the school-age child. I don't know why they say that like you get sleep as the children age. That's not true, at least in this house. So kids keep you up. You keep yourself up thinking about everything that's going on. You just don't get the sleep that you want. You have a bunch of appointments one day. You have a lot of things going on in the world around you. Whatever it is, there are just days where we don't have the capacity, we don't have the energy, we don't have the motivation. Maybe it's that time of month. Whatever it is, you know that there's gonna be days when you just don't feel like showing up for your business. That being said, our kids still need to learn and we still need to make money. And if you are like me, then this business of yours is your sole income, right? For me and my family, this business is our family's sole income. Me and my husband both work in this business, so it needs to make money. And if you're not like me, maybe you strive for that, right? So you need to keep showing up for your business so that it can get to the point where one day it is your primary source of income. And then on the other hand, right, your kids, they still need to learn, right? Some states are really strict and you're keeping tabs as to, what you're doing, but also just, you want to show up for your kids, right? So we still need to show up. So what do we do, right? We have these moments, we don't feel like showing up. How do we show up in spite of it? Because the truth is, life is happening all around us, right? And I was just talking to a client about this the other day. This is the advice that I give my clients. It's the advice that I gave my sons when they started their online bookshop. You will get out of your business what you put into it. And so we need to put into our businesses. We need to pour into our businesses if we want our businesses to pour back into us. And same thing with our homeschooling experiences, right? We need to pour into those homeschooling experiences if we want them to be what we envision them to be, if we want them to create happy environments for our children and experiences that our children actually want to be a part of. So life isn't just gonna stop, right? You're never gonna get like this break in life where it's like, okay, nothing is happening, nothing is distracting me, nothing needs my attention. I can just pour into my business. This is a great time to start. This is a great time to scale. This is a great time to focus. Like, it just doesn't happen. And so what we need to do is create businesses and homeschooling experiences that can survive and that can thrive in spite of life happening around us. And that's what I want to get into today. There's two things that we need to touch on today if we really want to figure out how do we show up on the days where we just don't feel like showing up. And the first one is really preventing those days from happening. Now, like I said, they happen, but we want them to be few and far in between, right? We don't want them to be the normal occurrence. We don't want this to be happening on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. We want this to be happening every once in a while. And so the first goal is that we want to be creating businesses and homeschooling experiences that are not going to make us feel drained, that are not going to make us feel like we don't want to show up. So how do we do that? I think it's really interesting, the correlation between both business and homeschooling and what we need to do to make sure that we're showing up for both. When it comes to business, the first thing that we need to do if we are wanting to create a business that we actually want to show up for is to make sure that we're building a business where our strengths and our passions intersect. We're not just creating a business just to make money, because that doesn't work. If you're in it like just to make money, now I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to make money, right? But if your motivation is just money and it's not like your passion, it's not your strengths, it's not something that you enjoy doing, it's going to be really hard to show up on a regular day, but especially on a day where you just don't want to show up, right? So first things first, figure out and make sure that you are building a business that really gets you lit up, right? That really fires you up so that you enjoy what you're doing, right? And usually that is at the intersection of your strengths and your passions. What you're really good at, right? Things that people are constantly coming to you for and asking you for help with that you're like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And what you're really passionate at, right? Fusing the two into one, into your business idea. Now, once you have that in place, here are two things that you don't want to do. The first is you don't want to build your business in a way that it's just replicating your 9-to-5. You want it to replace your 9-to-5, but not replicate it, right? You don't want to be chained to your desk. You don't want to be working 40 hours a week. That's literally why you started your own business. So we don't want to be replicating our 9-to-5. We want to replace it. And a big drain when we're building our own businesses stems from replicating those same things that we were running from, right? It doesn't make us want to show up because we're like, well, wait a minute. I could just go back to my 9-to-5 and have a steady paycheck, right? You don't actually want to show up if you're doing all the things and it's not actually working, right? So if you're doing what you love, if you are passionate about the work you do, if you're good at the work you do, and you're building your business in a way that creates time and money simultaneously and doesn't have you chained to your desk, and doesn't have you feeling overwhelmed and burnt out, then you're gonna have fewer of those days where you're not wanting to show up, right? So number one, make sure that you're not replicating your 9-to-5, make sure you're replacing it. And the second thing is, make sure that you aren't marketing your business in a way that feels forced or unnatural. If you're just doing what you think needs to be done, if you're just doing what she's doing and you see it working for her, so you think, well, if I do it that way, it's gonna work for me. It's not. It's not gonna work for you because it's not natural, right? It's forced. And so you're not gonna actually be showing up the way she is because she enjoys what she's doing. It comes naturally to her. It's easy, where you're forcing it, and your audience, they can see the difference. So don't try and build your business in a way that doesn't feel natural, that doesn't feel in an alignment to what it is that you are good at. It doesn't feel in alignment to what you want to put out into the world. Figure out how you can really just get your business out there and in front of the right people without making it feel very icky and slimy and unnatural. Now, when it comes to your homeschooling experience, again, I think it's really cool how these two kind of just are on the same path. For your homeschool experience, you want to make sure that you are actually creating a homeschool that furthers your why you started in the first place, right? And it's really similar to creating a business where your strengths and your passions intersect, right? That's what you're passionate about. That's what you really want to do. Same is true of your homeschooling experience, right? The reason you started homeschooling was insert blank here, right? And so if you want to be able to show up for your homeschool experience, for your homeschool period, then you want to make sure that the actions you're taking, the day-to-day that you're doing, is actually furthering that why. Some of us start it because we want to be in control of what our children are learning. Some of us start it because we want to cultivate connection and quality time. We want more of that with our children. Some of us start it because we want to have unconventional lives where we can travel or where we can be in an RV or what have you. And what happens is we get distracted by what social media is telling us to do, by what society is telling us to do, and the noise gets louder and louder. And so then we don't really want to show up for the homeschool experience because it's not the experience we thought we were going to have. And so there's two things that we need to do to make sure that that's not happening. The first is, don't try to recreate school at home. I know it's called homeschooling. I think we need to come up with a different term for it because automatically it makes us think that it's school at home, so it needs to look like school. And that comes down to like setting up our spaces to look like schools with desks and with boards and, you know, the areas, like the play areas, like everything. And I'm not knocking that, right? But it's just automatically our first, like that's what we think of when we think of homeschooling, right? And so we're trying to recreate school at home. And when it doesn't work, because it's impossible for that to work, your children feel differently at home. They feel comfort with their space and they feel comfort with you. And so we need to just like stop trying to do that. Stop trying to recreate school at home. We don't need to have school in the traditional school hours. It doesn't need to be from 9 to 3, Monday through Friday. We can school in the mornings. We can school in the evenings. We can school on the weekends. We can school for 4 days. a week. Like, it can look however you need it to be. And so the first thing is, if you want to have an enjoyable homeschool experience that you actually want to show up for, and that's actually furthering the why you start it, then you need to do it your way, okay? You need to stop trying to recreate school at home and just create learning at home. The second thing is, don't do it her way. And this is the same, again, when it comes to business, right? Don't market your business the way she does it. Don't try and homeschool the way she does it. There's so much information out there, and it's your job to take what applies, to take what you can apply to your own situation and leave the rest. There's morning baskets and morning menus, and there's curriculum choices, and there's extracurricular activities, and there's co-ops, and the list goes on and on and on. And all of these need to just be suggestions and ideas, and then you can do what fits for you and your family. But again, if you're trying to fit the mold of what homeschool looks like to society and to other homeschoolers, it's gonna feel hard. It's gonna feel like a struggle to do it because it's not actually what you want it to create, and you're just trying to do it her way. Figure out what works for you, figure out what's important to you, figure out which of those components that you're seeing around you actually further your goal, right? If your goal is connection with your children, what can further that? If your goal is traveling, what can further that? So don't just look at everybody's highlights out there and think that, well, they're doing it and that's the way to do it and that's the perfect way, and I don't hear them complaining or struggling. We all share the best parts of our day. And I don't say that to discourage it. I think we should, because I think it helps us celebrate what's working. It helps us see the best of our days. So we should continue doing that. But as we're watching other people celebrate those best parts of their days, we need to understand that they're also struggling. They also have hang-ups. They also make mistakes. And so we need to do what works for us so that we can continue on, and so that we have less of those days where we don't feel like showing up because it doesn't feel like too much, right? And so a couple of other things that we can be doing to really make sure that we are moving forward and wanting to show up: do the bare minimum, okay? Figure out what your bare minimum is and say, anything that I do above and beyond this is a perk, is a benefit, right? These are the subjects that we must do. These are the activities that we must do. If we do anything above and beyond that, perfect. Be so happy, our kids will be happy, but I won't feel like a failure if we don't do the above and beyond, because we did the bare minimum. So define what the bare minimum is for you. Same thing is true in your business. What are the bare minimums of your business? How do you want to show up daily? Like, minimum, right? What is the bare minimum that you want to do for your business every day? And anything that you do above and beyond that is a benefit, is a perk, right? Second is space out your time, right? Space out your business work and space out your homeschool work. Take breaks, like natural breaks. Do one subject and take a break. Do a second subject and take a break. Record your YouTube videos and take a break. Write your blog posts and take a break, right? Don't make it like just like, I have to do all of this right now. If it's feeling overwhelming, step back, right? Because then you're like, oh, I only have to record my YouTube videos and then I get a break. We only have to get through math and then we're going outside. Make it work for you so that you actually want to show up. Okay, so we've taken care of that, right? What we want to be doing is making these days where we don't want to show up happen few and far in between, right? We don't want them to be natural occurrences, everyday occurrences. We don't want them happening a lot. And so that's going to help us make them happen less, right? If we are building businesses and creating homeschool experiences that we actually want to show up for, chances are that we're going to have less of those days. But the second part of this two-step process is making sure that we have systems in place and we are creating businesses and homeschooling experiences that can work, that can still move forward, even on those days where we don't want to show up. That is the goal, that is the flex, that's what we're all trying to create, especially as homeschooling mamas in business. So how does that look for your business? It looks like creating systems and automations and having a funnel and having a marketing plan that work for you when you're not working. So you can step away from the desk, so you can homeschool your children, so you can take breaks, so you can go on vacation, so you can have a fun field trip day, so you can just have your own personal day, right? Me time. We need to have businesses that don't just require our energy in order to make money. If I have to be on 24/7 in order for my business to make money, my business isn't gonna make money, or at least it's not gonna make the money that we need to live the life that we live. And so I need to make sure that I'm building a business that actually takes into consideration the fact that I am a mama, a homeschooling mama specifically, and that I have other duties and obligations and a life outside of my business. But my business still needs to run because it allows me to have the life that I have, right? And so it's this like circle where I need the business so that I can homeschool, but I also need to homeschool in a way that still allows me to have a business and, right, all of those moving parts. So for your business, it looks like having a plan in place where your business is working for you when you're not working. Now, on the homeschool front, we need to come up with something so that even on those days where we don't feel like showing up, we can still show up. And what I would love to offer you, this idea, is creating sub-plans in advance. Don't create the sub-plans when you need them. Create them when you don't need them, so that when you need them, they're already in place. What can that look like for you, right? It looks like, what are the bare minimums that I want my children to do on any given day? But how can I set it up so that they're doing that without needing me fully, right? So maybe you have math curriculum where your children really need you to sit down next to them. And so maybe your sub-plans are easy, math worksheets, or they're a math game that you guys can play. We have so many math games that we love. I actually should probably link some of them. We have some swamps, I think it is, Sleeping Queens, Mathables. There's so many, right? Make it fun. And you're still learning and you're still moving forward and you're still showing up for your homeschool, but in a way that doesn't feel heavy. So creating sub-plans. Maybe it's a movie that you're gonna watch that is related to a topic that you're covering in history or in science. Maybe it's a field trip that you can take because you really just don't want to be home, like stuck indoors with them all day. Figure out what your sub-plans are and put them in place before you're feeling like you don't want to show up, so that you have something that your children can still do, so that they're still getting their learning in. Because again, I say this all the time, learning is happening all around us, and learning can look like a board game today, a movie tomorrow, a field trip the next day. It doesn't matter. All right, Mama, so that is what I have for you today. I hope that this has been helpful in just showing you what you can do. Listen, we're gonna have days where we don't wanna show up. The goal is to make those days less, right? Have less and less of those days as time goes on, because we are doing what we love, because we are creating environments that we want to be a part of and show up for, businesses and homeschool alike. And then just recognizing that, yeah, we still will have those days, right? It's not like they're just going to go away forever, but we have a plan in place so that we don't have to show up the same way on the days where we have less energy, on the days where we're not feeling ourselves, right? When we have a business that can still work for us when we're not working, and when we have like those sub-plans that we can put into place so that we don't have to be on in a way that we don't feel on for our children, but we know they're still getting what they need. I hope that this has just got the wheels turning as to how you can, again, create that business that works for you, and also that homeschooling experience. And just have grace with yourself, right? Know that we have those days. Those days are not bad. They're not bad, right? They're just days because we're humans and we're mamas and we have a lot going on. And the goal is just to work through it, right? Because life is not gonna stop, and we still need to make money, and we still need to teach our children. So if this was helpful, I would love it for you to subscribe to my channel, give me a follow. Let me know in the comments below which point has been the most helpful for you. Let's chat, let's engage, let's build community here. I will link the latest video. No, I'm gonna link it right here actually. I'll link it right here, and I will see you in the next video.